Well, it's a very good morning from him, and it's a very good morning from me. I hope you're well. Welcome to my mortgage live stream. It's been another week, a very hot week, of course. I was in London last week on business, which was fantastic. Loved the session. We're in the air-conditioned room, thank goodness. But it was so hot. It was unbelievably hot. The tube, the Bakerloo line was just like stifling. Elizabeth line was lovely because it's all air conditioned. So if you're ever in London, do the Elizabeth line. It's what they call the old Crossrail. It's a fantastic one. Anyway, hope you're well. Hope all is good with you and your world, whatever that world looks like. All is fine here. Got a couple of topics for you this morning. We'll take a look at flying freehold, which is I guess a bit of an update for you on mortgage capability and financial services side of things. And then I want to take a look at something I learned last week, actually. On Monday, I went to a session of my trade body, Professional Speaking Association, and I listened to a talk about customer service. But I'll come on to that a little bit later, because I think when it comes to customer service, we may have been plagued by indifference over the last year or so. So it's quite scary, actually. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to our first topic, shall we? Hopefully everything's fine and all good. If you listen to the podcast, turn up the volume if you want to. If you're on the live stream, then listen on, and we're going to give you some insights and things and good ideas. So what I'm going to do now is share with you flying freehold, and I want to share with you some slides, some pictures, to make sure you're up to date with this, particularly if you're doing some work on your CMAP as well, or at least you're doing your CPD and all those good things. So I'm going to head over to that whiteboard because I'd like to. So let's pop across here. I've already started with flying freehold, as you can see. So let's talk about flying freehold and what this is all about. Now, for those of you who are dealing with purchase cases at the moment, which is few and far between, unfortunately, it'll pick up next year, you wait, then you will come across certain types of property that are causing the underwriters of the lender a bit of a problem. And you need to be aware of these things as a mortgage advisor, because if the client gives you a property they're buying and you have a little look at the property, and if there's a few issues around it, you need to be aware and how difficult it might be to get it mortgaged. And one of them is flying freehold. Now, I just want to share with you a story called Luton Town Football Club, who have just been promoted. They were promoted last season to the Premier League, and they're playing with the big boys now. So they were promoted. Now, one of the problems they've got at Luton Town is that once they were promoted, they have to adhere to the requirements for Premier League team stands and grounds. Obvious, really, because there's a lot more TV and a lot more people turning up, etc. And they've got to spend about £10 million on their stand because they've got a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you what that problem looks like. So let's just head over here then and share with you a photograph of, well, this is a screenshot of a newspaper article. Luton Town Stadium has the most unique away end you've ever seen. You have to go through someone's back garden. It's a classic case of flying freehold. And I just want to sort of share this with you and see what you think. So if we go over to the next page, and you'll notice here that we've got some good old pictures here on the left-hand side, and there's the oak stand. So let's zoom in a bit so you can see. Now, here's the front entrance of Luton Town. For those on the podcast, I'll describe it to you. It's just a typical front entrance to a football club. But this football club is right bang in the middle of a town, a city, Luton. I think it's a city. Therefore, they're a little bit squeezed on space. At the other end of the ground, as people are approaching the ground, can you see this is a normal road? This is just a typical street, with terrace houses. You can see there the oak stand goes under people's houses. I don't know if you can see the detail there. If you're not watching, you'll see that the entrance to the oak stand goes under the ground floor of somebody else's terrace house. Classic flying freehold. And it goes under the house, and there's a picture of people going under the tunnel and up to the stand, and above them is somebody's house. It's a classic flying freehold. And there's a picture of a little kid there. He looks quite happy, doesn't he? On the stand entrance, or the gate, or the stairway to the stand. And you can see you're overlooking people's gardens. It's fascinating pictures if you're ever interested in taking a look at these things. Now, what we've got there, as you can appreciate, is a football club who had no choice. They had to go on the ground floor of a house, and they probably bought the house and went on the ground floor. But above them is somebody's bedrooms. It's flying freehold. Flying freehold, you see, is where you have some of your property flying over somebody else's land. and hence they called it flying freehold. So you can classically look at a picture of this one where you've got your particular property. There's your house there. It's just a classic property, isn't it? And the next door's house is there as well. And let's just make it sort of a set two detached properties, as you can see there. But you've got and that's their garden there. But your property, for some reason, overlaps their property. Can you see what's happened here? So you've got their land is there, and your property is overhanging. Typically in houses, but it can be in flats and apartments and things. But overhangs somebody else's property. Typically, you find this actually with tunnel-based properties. We used to have these where I was brought up in a council house, and what you have effectively are these tunnels, which are used by the coalman to go around the back of the house. Now, the problem with these tunnels is often used to have the land equalised between the two, but somebody's house overhung somebody else's land. Can you see what's happened there? So that's the reason. That's what happens. It goes hand in hand normally with shared access arrangements, because usually there's some kind of tunnel and somebody's land is overhanging it, a bit like the Luton Town example there. People have access to the tunnel, access to the drive that goes under the house. It's all in the deeds. Typically, if you haven't got the deeds, it'll be at the land registry. It'll give you who has shared access and some of the rights and obligations as well. Now, the problem you've got is mortgages. When you're mortgaging a flying freehold property, there will be complexities. The underwriters of the lender may not be happy with it, and often they have to look at the individual situation. A lot of it is about rights and your obligations to the flying freehold, the rights the other person has to go under your property. You have the obligations to make sure the property that's overhanging is well maintained, so it doesn't kill people if they walk past. That's got to be done as well. But it's more than just that as well. I had a friend of mine. She was a barber back in Tewkesbury days, and she lived in a property, a great big shared drive that went to the back where the car parking was, and her bedroom was above this shared drive. And her next door neighbour would do his motorbike up on a Sunday morning under this shared drive area because it was protected from the rain. Anyway, he was revving up his engine, and she got woken by this motorbike. So that's not particularly very pleasant, is it? That's not abiding by your responsibilities. And most lenders will be happy to lend on a flying freehold as long as the total amount of your property that's overhanging is no more than 10% of the floor space of the property. That tends to be a ruling I've heard of many lenders operate. So it's not really a major deal if it's a small amount of property that's overhanging. I had another friend of mine, who bought a property in Bradford. Doesn't matter what town it was just Bradford. And when he bought the property, the surveyor was talking about there being a basement underneath the property. And my friend said, well, there's no basement in my deeds. Well, because he hadn't bought the property yet. There's no basement in the property details. But the surveyor said there's definitely a basement. Anyway, they investigated it. And the next door neighbour's basement progressed underneath my friend's new house. So that's like the opposite of flying freehold, really, isn't it? Now, that was a right nightmare. And of course, he had to get the neighbour to block off the basement, but the neighbour refused to. In the end, he didn't buy the property. But what they could have done, of course, is got some kind of indemnity insurance to prevent it from being a problem at some point in the future. So he could have gone ahead with the purchase, and the insurance, and the lawyer would have taken out some indemnity insurance, which would have paid lawyer costs if the problem became a problem in the future. That's often what happens with legal ramifications or legal problems of buying properties. It's probably too much effort, too much cost to sort it out there and then. So they take out indemnity insurance, which pays money to pay your legal fees if it ever becomes a problem in the future. And lenders are usually quite happy with that as well if it's a small issue. So that's flying freehold. Now, I do know that the people that live in those terrace houses right next to Luton Town South Stand, who are being overhung by the staircases and everything, I do believe they get free season tickets. So, they're onto a good one there, aren't they? What they say, come on, you hatters. Apparently that's what they're called, Luton Town. So I hope they do well and they don't go straight down to the bottom division in the first year, which many clubs do. So that's a flying freehold. Bye. There we go. All right. I hope you found that one interesting as well. Particularly the Luton Town photographs, very interesting, aren't they? I hope it's all good with you. Hope you're beginning your September in the right manner and doing some really good business. And I've got a couple of ideas to help you with that over the next couple of months, because it's going to be a bit of a tricky time over the next few months. I just want to share with you what might assist you along the way. So I'm going to pop over to my other whiteboard in a second. We're going to talk about customer service. Do you like that topic? Do you? Customer service. I've already pre-prepared my my screen, as you can see. Let's get the focus on here. Customer service. Are we plagued with indifference? Is the title of this particular talk. Now, I attended a seminar last week. It was my Professional Speaking Association, and I guided a talk on customer service. It was a great talk, loved it. But what it was a talk that he probably hadn't changed much since before the pandemic. So he talked about great customer service principles and tips and techniques and things like that. But all his references, all his stories were pre-pandemic. And I was thinking on the train on the way back that life isn't like that anymore. The pandemic changed so many things. I think it's changed customer service because it's taken our eye off the ball of good customer service. So that's really my message here, really. So I was thinking about this. Is our eye off the ball? Have we been plagued with indifference? Let me give you some examples. Since the pandemic has finished, we've got all sorts of issues around hospitality, haven't we? So leisure, restaurants, there's a lack of staff. We can't get the people to work in these restaurants. And, you go to a restaurant and you don't get served for 20 minutes. You're quite pleased with that. You think that's really good. Our expectations have come right down when it comes to hospitality. And we kind of feel for them because they can't get the staff. Because they can't get the staff, there's automation everywhere now. I'm talking about robotic automation. The Cheltenham races, for example, they've got vending machines for Guinness. Everywhere you can, people are automating because they can't get the staff, they can't afford the staff, so they're automating getting robotics. There's a drive to it anyway, but of course robots and automation don't give very good customer service, do they? Artificial intelligence is the other one. Now, obviously, it's robotics in a way, isn't it? But artificial intelligence is software. And these language models now, which lenders particularly are picking up on their chat boxes. Whenever you talk to somebody on a chat box, it's never a human. It's usually Milo or Myra or Milo or whatever. There's some cute fancy name, isn't it? And it's artificial intelligence. And they don't give good customer service because they can't. And the more and more we use artificial intelligence in our daily world, the less customer service you'll get. I mean, hospitals, your local surgery, completely different when it comes to customer service. They can't get the staff. You make a call, you can't speak to somebody, you're on hold for hours. Hospitals are doing their best they possibly can to help people and treat people, but they've got massive queues and waiting lists left over from the pandemic. So they're rushing around just to be efficient. So I think the name is now efficiency overcomes customer service. I mean, fund management, shares, ESG, environmental, social, and governance, sustainable fund managing is a great idea. Of course it is, don't get me wrong. But what it's doing is taking the eye off the ball of customer service, and we're becoming more ingrained in what the fund gets involved in, what shares, what companies. Companies are more interested now in diversity and equality and equity. And I get all that, they should be. But they've taken their eye off the ball of good old customer service. They're so concerned about making sure that they are giving off the right signals and the right communication words and language to appease environmental, social, and governance structures that they've forgotten about customer service. They have. I don't care how you put it. Young people coming through the system now getting work. They've been brought up on smartphones and digital technology, communication. Picking up a phone can put them into the fear of God, some of them. And I get all of that because they've never ever been used to it. They're not being trained on it because companies aren't investing in soft skills training. They'll throw them on an e-learning course where they go through page turning and click, click, click and do a multiple choice test at the end, but they're not teaching them, communication skills. So if you think about it, it's a perfect storm. All these things are happening around us now because of the pandemic, pretty much, and automation, efficiency. We're trying to be more efficient. We're trying to be more automated in the way we operate. I'm as guilty as the next person. In my business, I've tried to automate as much as I possibly can. And I think to a degree, it's probably dented customer service, customer care. And maybe we think it's not important anymore. I think what's happened is we are plagued now with indifference about it. Now, in financial services, we've got consumer duty now, which puts the customer at the heart of everything. They always have been. Didn't need a new principle to tell us to do that. But the fact is, we have to make sure customer gets good outcomes, all those good things. They can only get that with good customer service. So I wonder where we've drifted into indifference, and maybe it's something we need to be focusing on. I know I'm going to be doing so in this quarter, and maybe you need to do in your business as well. Only you know. Hope you found that useful. Bye. There you go. Indifference, playing with indifference. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it? The whole thing is quite interesting. Okay, let's finish off now with something I thought about this morning. Actually, just talking to myself really when I was getting prepared for our live stream, and I was thinking about brokers and your world this quarter, because your world is very much about remortgages and product transfers this autumn. You might have a little bit of purchase business going on, but I'm not sure if you will get a lot of it. A lot of people are still waiting. House prices are going down. There's indications that house prices have fallen by 5-10%. I think in some areas probably more. Whether that will carry on, I don't know. Who knows? No one's got a magic sort of crystal ball, have you? But you as a broker will need to make money. Of course, you've got to pay the bills. And you've probably got lots of customers and prospects and referrals of people who've come to the end of their fixed rate mortgage. And you know this. And your job then is to give them an MOT and take them through a fact find and give them an opportunity of looking at the marketplace. But I've been reading time again in the trade press and the normal press as well, the Economist, the Money Weeks, that most customers whose fix is coming in are not wanting to talk to mortgage brokers. And that's a bit worrying in a way, because you won't get the business. The lenders are getting it by the bucket load at the moment, with their product transfer apps on their computers and things and phones. It's so easy to refix with the existing lender. But of course, we need to talk to the customer about it. Now, I think the problem we've got here is that we try and sell maybe the wrong thing, and maybe our initial pitch is not quite correct. Just see what you think about these ideas that I've got on this one. I just want to sort of give a few thoughts about this one, because when we're approaching customers with the idea of fixing or getting them a better deal on the whole of marketplace, I think that's frightening them to a degree, because the customer has some issues in their head. And we go in all guns blazing. Yeah, okay. What we can do is look. We do a fact find. We'll search the whole of the market. We'll get you a better deal. It's best advice. All those things. And I think you're putting off the customer, who will then go online themselves, direct and get it done themselves. So I was thinking about a way of handling that. Now, if you think about it, customers, when they come and talk to you, have four main problem areas. This is any customer, by any client. Four main product or four main areas in which they will have concerns. We used to call them objections, didn't we? The first concern they have is cost. Are they going to be paying too much? Are they going to be paying your great big fee? There's a cost worry that they have as well. Time. Is this going to take too much time because I don't have enough time? That's the second big objection they have. The third one is trust. They may not trust you. We get over that by building trust, of course. But here's the big one for you. They're worried that whatever it is that you're going to sell them won't work. Now, every customer is different. Every mortgage meeting you have with customers are all different. But most customers who have an issue around, or they want to refix their 5-year fix, for example, the first thing they're really worried about is cost. Obviously, the monthly payments are going to rocket, but they've already worked it out. People aren't stupid, because they can. But they're worrying about, if they talk to you for too long, it's going to cost them a lot of money. There's going to be a big fee involved, and et cetera, et cetera. So okay, they're not going to say anything about that to start with, but they'll be thinking about that. And the second one is they don't maybe think it's going to work. Whatever it is you're going to recommend, the best deal from the whole of the market, sounds great. But in their back of the mind, they're thinking, well, do I have to reapply? Do I have to show my income now? My husband's income's gone down a bit since. He's not earning so much bonus as he was when we first applied for our mortgage. And I've heard that they're not being as generous with mortgages at the moment, lenders, because interest rates have gone up. So people are thinking about this because they read about it. They talk to their friends about it. They're on social media about this as well on a regular basis. So these are the two problems that you've got. Now, what I always say when it comes to handling problems is we preempt them. We preempt them. We don't deal with them when they become a problem. We preempt them in our patter at the beginning. So when you have your 15-minute discovery call with a potential customer, maybe you've been referred to them, maybe they're an existing customer of yours, and you're going to be selling the sales process, the appointment process, the fact finding, etc. Here's what you could do. Now, to get over the won't work situation, what I'm thinking of doing here now is talking to the customer about the fact, what I'm able to do to help you here is, obviously I'm a mortgage advisor, and I'm able to look at the entire marketplace for the very best mortgage to help you moving forward. But don't worry, because if I feel that the best option for you is to go back to your existing lender, then I will take care of that for you as well. I can get a fast track, you see, into your lender, your existing lender's system. And I can help you we can do it together. I can key it all in for you, answer all your questions. So, if we wanted to, we could just go back through your existing lender and refix with them, and I can show you what they have available, because I have a fast track access to their computer system, which you do. And we can do it all for you. So I think that's a great thing. Rather than saying, look, we're going to remortgage and get you the best deal, because we might find a better deal for you than your existing lender. I mean, that's great, but you see, they're worried about it won't work. They're worried about the time involved and the palaver it causes. So yeah, that is what you do. That's your proposition. But if we think that your lender is by far the best option for you, then I can fast track you through a product transfer, and it'll be much quicker if you and I do it together, and all will be good. Then you could hit the cost button here as well. And I don't know if you just do a product transfer and you're going to get a proc fee, not much, I get that. Some lenders more generous than others. Whether you're going to be charging a fee for that, jury's out on that one. If you decide not to, at that point you want to say to the customer, look, if I take care of the fast track product transfer for you, then we will earn a small commission from them for that. It doesn't affect your payments at all, but it means that I can operate for you on your behalf, and there'll be no further fee for me. You might be able to preempt that if that's the case. If you're going to charge a fee and you're not going to go remortgage across the whole of the marketplace, and it is a question of pressing a few buttons, not sure if you can justify a fee. I think you'll just have to do a lot more of this business to earn your income, and you'll just have to look at what your break-even figures are for your business, because things will pick up again next year. The mortgage and the purchase market will improve. So that's what I'm saying to you, is preempt these problems that customers have. And I think these are the two big problems they have when it comes to refixing. Now, we're using phrases like MOT, aren't we? I talk about it as well, which is a great one. But again, the MOT indicates that you'll be looking at the whole marketplace for a better deal and reapplying for another mortgage. And maybe the customer doesn't want that. Maybe they just want a couple of buttons, but you can at least help them with that one. Just an idea to help you. Hope that's been useful. Bye. Alrighty. Hope that's been good for you. So a little bit of a bonus there for you as well, which I'm really pleased for. We're going to wrap up now, and hope you're going to have a good rest of the week. As always, here's my QR code if you want to get onto our member database. Got a few things coming up actually in the next couple of weeks. On Saturday, we are running our CMAT 1 audio still at 10 o'clock. I'm doing live audio just to update our CMAT 1 podcasts. So we're talking about regulatory issues on Saturday. Again, you can get access to that, but you have to be on our member database for that one. And at 11 o'clock, I'm doing a quick overview for you about the route to financial advisor. For those of you looking to become a financial advisor, we're kicking off on our third cohort this autumn to help some lucky people to get through their financial advisor exams. Even if you spend the next year doing your financial advisor exams while you're still a mortgage advisor, you can then segue into that area next year. Or at least do it in stages. Start to give existing mortgage customers some advice around their pensions, for example, or some savings conversations you might want to have with them as well. And the financial advisor qualification will certainly give you more help and information about protection advice as well. You might not want to go full blown into giving investment advice, you might want to do it in stages. So that's certainly something to think about. And we've got quite a few people interested in that one. So, you might want to get in on that one. But the only way you can do that is to get on my member database, because we email with you all these things. So there's the QR code on there. If you're listening to the podcast, just email me, paul@paularcher.com, and I'll be happy to add you to the system. Other than that, I hope you're going to have a fantastic week. Enjoy the sunshine or whatever's left of it. I think it's all gone now. I think the temperature's coming down, storms are coming in. We'll be here next week with some more ideas. See you then. Bye.